Hello everyone. In the series of our discussion of the drama Macbeth, we have discussed two acts of this drama and now we come to act third. But before we start this act, it is also very important to revise the two acts action very quickly. So what we have seen that when Macbeth and Banquo were returning victoriously from the battle, they met three witches, and these witches made few prophecies about these two men, and they addressed Macbeth with three titles: Thane of Glamis, Thane of Cawdor, and the King Hereafter. They also prophesied about Banquo that he would be the father of kings, and soon after this, one of the messenger from King Duncan came there and informed them that Macbeth has been conferred the title Thane of Cawdor. So this has fired up the ambition in Macbeth to become the king of Scotland, and now he is conspiring to dethrone the king, and the only way he could find is to murder the king. And the opportunity soon came to his way when they reached the court of King Duncan. King Duncan announced that he would spend a night in the castle of Macbeth. And when King Duncan arrived at the castle with the chastisement of Lady Macbeth, Macbeth murdered the king very brutally. And when this news came to the two sons of King Duncan, Malcolm and Donalbain, and they felt that there is some kind of conspiracy in that, and that's why they fled from there. And now Macbeth has become the king of Scotland. So that's what we have seen in these two acts, and now we start the act 3. So now Macbeth is the king of Scotland, and Banquo thinks about what has happened. He knows that the reality as to who has murdered the king. Macbeth is now afraid of Banquo and his son flints. Macbeth meets Banquo and receives him as the most honored guest of the evening banquet. Lady Macbeth also receives him warmly. Macbeth is reminded of the prophecy of the three witches that Banquo's son will be king. So he plans to murder of Banquo and his son Flints. He calls in two murderers and cautiously inflames them against Banquo. He makes them agree to murder Banquo and Flints that very night. Macbeth cheers them and asks them to wait outside to know the exact spot and exact time when they can murder both the father and the son. Cunningly, Macbeth ascertains from Banquo the time when he and his son Flints are to return from his castle that evening to join the banquet. Lady Macbeth knows from the servant that Banquo is gone from the court, but he will return that night. She asks the servant to send in Macbeth. She complains to Macbeth why he is keeping alone. He should have put an end to all anxieties after Duncan's death. Macbeth tells his wife that he is not feeling safe and there can be no peace of mind until the danger is completely removed. He tells his wife that he has scourged the snake, not killed it, but he is determined that this state of things shall not continue. He tells her that he is going to do something which will wipe out all dangers from their path. He does not, however, want to convey to his wife the details of his plan. Macbeth envies Duncan, who now lies in a peaceful state away from all dangers from steel or poison or foreign invasion. Lady Macbeth tries to cheer up her husband to face the situation boldly. She tells her husband that enemies are not immortal and they can be easily disposed of. Two murderers wait at the far end of the park before Macbeth Castle for Banquo and his son. Not long after, a third murderer joins them. It is getting dark. The murderers hear the sound of horses' hoofs. Banquo and his son flinch, alight from their horses and walk on the road leading to the castle. Both are attacked. Banquo is slain by the murderers. He warns his son Flinch to run away. The murderers are disappointed when Flinch escapes. At a feast honor the nobles of the kingdom is being given by Macbeth. The guests have assembled. They are cordially welcomed. Lady Macbeth proves herself a perfect hostess. Macbeth bids them take their seats while the feast is going on. The first murderer approaches the door. He informs Macbeth that Banquo has been killed, but Flinch has escaped. Lady Macbeth reproaches her husband for his indifference to the guests. Macbeth sees the ghost of Banquo on the seat, which was meant for Macbeth. This ghost is visible only to Macbeth. Macbeth is afraid of the ghost. The guest, unable to understand the cause of Macbeth's fear, and they get ready to go. But Lady Macbeth asks them to sit. She explains to them that it is a temporary fit which had caught in his early age. He will be all right in a few minutes. Then she returns to her husband and chastises him for his sentimental and psychological fear. The ghost disappears for a time and Macbeth is all right. He apologizes for his strange infirmity. But the mere mention of the name of Banquo brings back the ghost. Again, seeing the ghost, Macbeth falls in a fit of insanity again. He addresses the ghost wildly. His conduct is perplexing to the guest. The ghost vanishes again. But now, at the suggestion of Lady Macbeth, the guests leave the castle. Macbeth now remembers that Macduff did not come to the feast. He wishes to see the witches the next day, to know the worst that is in for him. He is ready to commit any bloody crime to make his position safe. Macbeth realizes that he is a novice in committing crime. Lady Macbeth now begs him to go to bed. The three witches meet Hecate on the deserted heath. Hecate is angry with the witches because they have dealing with Macbeth without taking her into confidence. Macbeth wants to seek their advice, so he goes to the heath to meet the witches. Hecate asks them to go to meet Macbeth in a cave, the pit of Acheron. During this time, she will collect powers for the destruction of Macbeth. She will get a drop of dew from the corner of the moon, and with its help will raise apparitions which will tempt Macbeth to his ruin. Lennox and one lord discuss fear and suspicion which Macbeth's action have aroused in Scotland. Lennox says that the course of events in their country has taken a strange turn. He suspects that Duncan and Banquo have been murdered by Macbeth. Banquo stayed out too long and his son Flinch fled just as Malcolm and Donalbain did after the death of their father. If one takes it for granted that Malcolm and Donalbain are responsible for the death of their father on the account of their immediate disappearance from their country, One is also free to think that Flint is also responsible for the death of his father, for he has fled. Men must not walk too late at night or they run the risk of meeting with misfortune similar to Banquo's. Lennox thinks that Macbeth has managed things very cleverly. Macduff has refused to attend the royal banquet held by Macbeth. Lennox enquires of the Lord where Macduff is. The Lord tells him that Macduff has gone to England to seek help for Northumberland and seaward for the restoration of Duncan's heir to the throne of Scotland. Lennox and the Lord pray for the speedy deliverance of their country from cruel rule of Macbeth.